Hey friends, welcome back to Vlogmas. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing 7 products that I bought because of the hype. I totally fell for the hype on these, and I was not disappointed. This is the counterpart to a video that I posted a couple weeks ago, maybe it was just a week ago, I don't even know at this point. I've been posting so many videos that I've lost track. But in a recent video, I shared some products that I bought because of the hype, and I was kind of let down, or I just didn't really understand why they were so hyped up. But a lot of you said you would like to see the opposite of that video, so that is what we're gonna do today. Some of these products are like viral products. Some of them are more just products that they've been hyped up on social media, and well, I guess that is viral. I don't know. How do you define viral these days? These products were ones that I bought specifically because they were so hyped up, and I was not let down. I can totally see why these get a lot of hype. So let's start with a foundation. I don't know if this one is so much hyped up anymore, but it definitely was last year. This is my new favorite foundation. Okay, this is the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. It took me a while to get the correct shade of this, even though I had a sample a long time ago and I loved it. The sample wasn't quite the right shade, so then when I bought it earlier this year, I bought it in the wrong shade, which was LP4. So then I passed that one on and waited until the next time I could get a discount, and this time I finally found the right shade. This is the shade LN3, and it is the perfect shade match for me. So this foundation has, I would say, light but buildable coverage, and I am really happy with the level of coverage I get. It definitely has more coverage than something like a skin tint or tinted moisturizer, but it is so breathable and lightweight on my skin. It's one of those foundations that it just doesn't look like I'm wearing any foundation, but it just gives my skin this beautiful, smooth, I don't want to say perfected look, but just really even look. And I mentioned in my video revisiting my 2021 makeup favorites that this has totally replaced for me the Urban Decay Hydromaniac foundation, which I still love, but this one is less expensive than that one by like $10, and to me, it's just as good, if not a little bit better, because I just feel like this is almost even a little bit more smoothing on my skin. It's one of those foundations that I feel like it becomes one with my skin in a way. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top of my skin, but it really just blends right in. It's very satisfying to blend in too. And on top of that, LYS is such a reasonably priced brand for a Sephora brand. And to me, the quality is just as good as other higher priced Sephora brands. The packaging feels so just high end to me. The only thing I'll say is it is a little bit bulky, maybe not something that you would want to travel with because it is made of glass and it is kind of heavy, but if you did want to travel with it, you could just decant some of it into like a little travel jar or something, and that would work totally fine. But I love this. This has definitely taken one of the top spots in my foundation rotation. Very glad I listened to the hype and bought this. Another one that has been so hyped up this year, I would definitely say this is considered a viral product of the year, the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I have the shade Feelin' Shady, which is a really nice cool tone. Now, one thing to be aware of with this, the reasons I love this might be the reasons why someone else might hate it. So this is a pretty sheer formula, which I really like because to me it's just a little bit easier to work with and I don't have to worry about going overboard. And it doesn't really look like I'm wearing contour. It just blends right into my skin. So that's what I like about it. But I do remember the first time I tried this, I felt like there was almost like a layer I had to get through on the top to get to like the real product. But at first I do remember I really had to build it up quite a bit, but now that I've gotten the hang of it, I don't have that problem. And it's just so quick to apply. It looks really natural on my skin. So I think for $7, this is a great cream bronzer. I totally get why people love it, but also I can see why some people don't like it, you know? Okay, this next one I was very late to the party on, which is usually the case with me, but this one I had been eyeing for such a long time because it was so hyped up, and it took me forever to finally make the purchase, but I'm so glad I did. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint Blush Mousse, and I have it in the shade Nude Tude, which I've been looking for a shade of blush like this for such a long time. Let me just add this to my crazy swatch-filled hand here. I've been looking for like a brownish mauve blush like this for so long, and I finally found it. And this is a very moussey liquid blush. I can see why they call it the a blush mousse because, you know, I wouldn't necessarily call it a liquid blush because it's not very liquidy, and it blends out to a pretty matte finish. There's no shimmer to this at all, at least not in this shade. I don't think any of the shades have shimmer though. And it's very easy to work with. At first I was a little scared about this doe foot applicator. I was like, is it going to, you know, I was worried that, you know, when I dotted it on my skin, maybe it wouldn't blend out well or it would cling to that one spot like some do. But that hasn't been the case at all. This blends out so easily. Today I actually made the mistake of applying this over my powder. I already powdered before I remembered that I wanted to apply this. Normally I put cream blush on before powder, but it actually worked pretty well. I still think it's best applied pre-powder, but really it didn't disrupt my makeup underneath too much. There's really just one spot here where I feel like it kind of got weird. And this is another one that's not too pigmented. I've also been testing out this LA Girl Soft Matte Cream Blush recently. This one is extremely pigmented. You have to be careful not to apply too much of this, whereas this one, you don't have to be so careful, but it's still very buildable. So I can absolutely understand the hype on this. I think a lot of people would like this. It's very user-friendly, and it's just a pleasure to work with. So I'm really glad I bought that. Definitely lived up to the hype, and I'm especially loving this shade Nude Tude. It's been perfect for this fall and winter time. Okay, next product, also from NYX. I'm so glad I bought this also. This is the NYX Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara. I have the shade Cool Blonde. I am in love with this product. I've never felt this strongly about a brow gel. I never really thought I cared that much about brow gels, but this is something special because not only does it hold my brows in place, but it also fills them in. Most tinted brow gels don't do that for me. I mean, I guess I haven't tried that many, but usually a brow gel is something I would just use after I've already filled in my brows to give them a little bit of hold, get them into the shape I want them. But this really fills them in, and I'm sure it's going to depend on your brows, how they are. Like if you have very few brow hairs, I'm not sure how this would work. I have a decent amount of brow hair, but they're just kind of blah, like they're kind of shapeless on their own. But this just whips them right into shape. They look amazing even with just this. This is the kind of thing that I can wear on its own, no other products in my brows, and be really happy with the result. I've been wearing it by itself a lot lately. A lot of days though, I will add in some of my brow pen, which is the NYX Lift and Snatch. They work very well. I'll put some of this in after I've applied this, just to the areas where I want like to fill in just a little bit more. Mainly like the bottom part where I want to just define the arch a little bit and a little bit in the front. But I'm so impressed with this, and it lives up to the name too. So like the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, I don't know if everybody would like this. I mean, that's true for any product, but Thick It, Stick It is the name. So it has stick in the title, which means it is a little bit sticky. It does really thicken up your brows, which I like. It has little fibers in it. The stickiness though, I feel like is really necessary for this because that's what is going to really hold your brows in place. And this has the strongest hold of a brow gel that I've ever tried. Way better hold with this than like the e.l.f. Brow Lift, which I hate. That was in my video of hyped products that were disappointing to me. The only thing I don't like about this, my only minor complaint, is I wish the brush were just a little bit smaller because it is kind of big for a brow brush, like compared to something like the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It's a lot bigger, but I haven't really found that to be a huge problem. It took a little bit of getting used to in the beginning, but because this isn't like a super wet formula, I don't really have much trouble with it getting outside of my brow area, and if I do make a little mistake, I'll just kind of wipe it away with my finger. Now, granted, I do have one of the lighter shades, so I'm not sure how the deeper shades would be. Maybe those would be a little bit messier, but honestly, the size of the brush really hasn't bothered me. I still think it could be smaller and that would be even better, but a lot of times when I do want more precision in kind of the tail of my brows, I will go from holding it sideways like this, I'll turn it and really use the tip to brush through that part, and that way I do get a little bit more precision. So yeah, I am just so pleased with this, so glad I bought it. Never thought that I would love a brow gel so much, but this has just made my brow routine so much easier, and I'm really loving the just less structured brow look recently. It fills out my brows, gives them a little bit more thickness, but they still look like my real brows. So that's what I love so much about this. Really enjoying that. Highly recommend. Next product I bought because of the hype. I have been loving these this year. The e.l.f. No Budge eyeshadow sticks. I now have 3 shades of this. I would say my 2 favorite shades though are Magnetic Pull and Copper Chic, but I also have Rose Gold, which is beautiful. I just find myself reaching for these 2 more for some reason. But the first one I bought was Magnetic Pull, and I bought this because it was rumored to be somewhat of an alternative to the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize Cream Shadow in Oyster Pearl, which I am not interested in buying because it's too expensive. So I can't compare the 2 side by side, of course, but I feel like this gives me the same sort of effect that I was wanting from that product anyway, and I'm so happy with it. It's a great, just cool taupe color. I feel like this kind of shade is hard to come by for some reason, and it just makes a great one and done shadow. This one has very much a satin finish, so it's not matte, but it's not metallic or sparkly or anything. Rose Gold definitely has more sparkle to it. And then the other shade, this is the one I'm wearing today, underneath a few other things, but this is the shade Copper Chic, and I am loving this one. I don't normally like copper eyeshadows, but this is really more of just like a soft, warm brown to me. It's really just like the perfect brown. I feel like it makes my blue eyes pop, and lately I've just been loving like a simple wash of like brown all over the lid. I just think it's so classic and a little bit sultry. I like that these aren't fully opaque. Like once you blend them out, I wouldn't say they're sheer, but they just look more like a nice wash of color, but they stay put on my eyelids so well, and that's normally not the case for me. I have very crease-prone eyelids, but as long as I set my eyelids with some powder before I apply these, they stay all day long. I don't have to use a separate eye primer underneath, so once again, it's just nice to be able to knock out almost 2 steps in one. They kind of work like an eye primer, so if I wanted to use one of these as an eye base, I can just do that and then go in with whatever other shadows I want. So loving those, and they've kind of turned me into a eyeshadow stick convert because I used to never buy stuff like this, but I've really been loving this type of product this year. Just really quick, easy, effortless products, and I love them. By the way, if you're wondering what else I'm wearing on my eyes today, I am wearing Copper Chic all over. Then I went in, actually with my Essence Coral Me Maybe palette, I just used some of this beige in my crease just to blend a little bit more, and this light shimmer in my inner corner. And then I topped it with the Flower Beauty Chrome Crush Pressed Pigment. That I just tapped all over the lid and into the inner corner. This is another one of my favorite products. I don't necessarily think this is that hyped up though, so that's why I'm not including it in this video. Well, I guess I am because I'm talking about it right now, but I don't know how hyped up this is. Maybe it is, and I just don't realize, but I do love it. All right, this next one I would also say has been pretty viral this year. I just feel like I've been hearing about it everywhere, and I'm so glad I decided to try it because it is my new favorite mascara. This is the Milani Highly Rated Anti-Gravity. This is exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for a drugstore mascara to replace my favorite high-end / discontinued Urban Decay Lash Freak, which I love, but I actually think I like this better. The brush is just a little bit easier to work with. I do love, I love my spiky rubber bristle brushes, and that's what this has. But it does also have that kind of hourglass shape to it. I think that shape is so good for just really hugging the lashes, but also getting in between each one, which is what I really like about a spiky brush like this. But this is really everything I was looking for. Very lengthening, but also very volumizing. Like you can actually see my lashes from a distance and not just close up. And it makes my lashes just look incredibly long. I have been using a lash serum recently, actually a lash and brow serum. I don't feel like it's made that big of a difference in my brows, other than maybe the hairs are just growing faster, which has gotten kind of annoying because I have to pluck them more often. But I've actually been using a different serum on either side, the Kosas one on this side and the e.l.f. one on this side. So I'm still not sure if they've made a huge difference, but I actually feel like looking at my lashes right now, I feel like the e.l.f. side looks even a little bit more impressive. So that might also be contributing to the length, but I've been using this mascara since even before I started using those lash serums, and I loved it then. I love it now. I will definitely be repurchasing this once it runs out. Oh, and the best part is it doesn't smudge on me, which is very important. So highly recommend that. Very glad I gave in to the hype on this one and on all of these products. Those are just some products that they were really hyped up. I'm always a little skeptical when things are super hyped up because I'm just not sure if the hype is real, but for me at least, the hype was real on these products, and I'm glad that I made the purchase. So Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe because I'm uploading every day until December 12th. So I would love to see you back soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.